Yes, Miss York, now I'm recording. All right, guys, I'm waiting for about 2 more answers. Good. All right, your next do now question. Use this input-output table and the rule and type the correct number in the blank. In is the number 1, out is the number 5. In is the number 3, out is the number 15. In is the number 4, out is the number 20. Good, Madison, good, James, Aiden, great job, Willie, Ariella, great job. Good, I have a question. What can we rename this in and out? I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you. Somebody risk take for me. What can I go ahead and rename this in and out here?
X and Y.
X and Y, great job. So X and Y. So this is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be taking some simple problems and connecting them back to our and coordinate planes. All right, next we're going to watch a short video. All right, when we start this video, she's going to have you write down 2 vocabulary words. I want you to make sure you copy those down. When we get to that portion of the video, I will pause it, and then I will allow 2 minutes for you to copy down all your definitions. Okay, so just make sure you have your pencil and paper out and ready.
Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to be learning about functions. So what I want you to do in box number 2 of your homework sheet, we're going to be going through a few new vocabulary words. I'd like you to copy the words and their meanings into box 2. What is a function?
Hang on, guys. I need to mute all of your computers.
A function is a mathematical relationship that's shared between 2 sets of numbers, and we'll look at some examples of those in just a moment. What is a rule? A rule describes the relationship. It's the explanation of what's happening in those 2 sets of numbers. So please take a moment and write those into section 2 of your homework sheet right now.
All right, guys. So you're writing down function, a math relationship that is shared by 2 sets of numbers. And then you're writing down the word rule. A rule describes the relationship. I'm going to put a timer on for 2 minutes. All right, guys, you have about 1 minute and 30 seconds left to copy. If you are just joining this session, please write down the 2 vocabulary words, function and rule, and their definitions. About 1 minute remaining. All right, you should be finishing those vocabulary words up. If not, I will make sure that when the video is posted, you can copy them down later. In about 30 seconds. Guys, I'm gonna go ahead and continue with the video.
Let's get into our first example. What we have here is called a function table, and it's a table set up of different sets of numbers. We have our input numbers and our output numbers. I like to think of function tables as a sort of machine, as a function machine. We put our input numbers into the machine, something's done to them, they're mixed all around, something's done mathematically to them, and then they pop out of our machine looking a little different. And our challenge, our job, is to figure out the rule, what has happened to them as they're in this function machine. So let's take a look at our first example. Our first number of input is the number 2. We put it into our function machine and it comes out looking like a number 12. So we have to ask ourselves, what is done to 2 to make it become 12? Now we notice that to get from 2 to 12, we have to go up. And to get up mathematically, you're either doing addition or multiplication most of the time. So for this instance, I'm going to choose multiplication, and I'm going to ask myself, what do you have to do to 2 to make it 12 using multiplication? And I know that to get from 2 to 12, I have to multiply by 6. So I'm going to go ahead and make a little note of that on my function table. Then we move on to the next row. 3 is the number that I put into my machine. It's my input. And it popped out an 18. So what do you have to do to 3 to make it 18? Well, we also have to multiply by 6. So now I'm seeing sort of a pattern start. Let's look at our next one. To get from 4 to 24, we also have to multiply by 6. And the same thing for our next number. To get from 5 to 30, we also multiply by 6. So now it is clear to see that the rule for this particular function table is multiply by 6 or times 6. So now that we know that, we can continue and extend our table even further. So what I've noticed is my input numbers, what is happening each time to my input numbers? And if you look closely, you can see that they are increasing or going up by 1. So if I have 2, 3, 4, 5, using my mathematical skills, I can assume that number 6 would be next on my input side because each number goes up by 1 each time. Let's take a look at my output side. You can also notice a relationship happening between these numbers. What is happening from 12 to 18 to 24 to 30? Well, they're going up by 6 each time. So you can use that relationship to fill in this blank, or you can use your rule that we figured out earlier. We know that our rule is times 6. So we take our input of 6, we multiply it by 6, and we get 36 as our output. So we've now completed our function table, and we've also determined what our rule is for this particular problem. Now this is a one-step function table where we're only doing one operation. We're only doing one type of math to the inputs to get the outputs. Let's look at a little more challenging example, two-step function tables. This one's a little bit tricky. Let's take a look at what we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 as our input numbers. And then we need to look at the relationship or how we get from our input to our output. We have to see what's happening to these numbers. So I put a 1 into my machine and it pops out a 3. So there are a few different types of math that I can do that will get me from 1 to 3. We know that the number is going up, so it's most likely either going to be multiplication or addition. So I'm going to start with, let's start with addition. Okay, how do we get from 1 to 3? Well, we have to add 2. Now let's see if that happens in the same sort of way with the next line. How do we get from 2 to 5? We add 3. Well, I'm not seeing any sort of relationship there, so I'm going to try something a little different. And we're going to go ahead and erase, and that's why you have erasers on your pencil, because a lot of what function tables are, a lot of it is guess and check. You're guessing to see what's happening in your relationship, and then you're checking to see if that's the right answer. All right, so to get from 1 to 3, another way that I can get there is I can multiply. If I multiply by 3, it's true, I will get 3. But then if I try to multiply 2 by 3, am I going to get 5? No. but possibly there might be something else that I could do. Let's try multiplying by 2. 1 times 2 is not going to give me 3, but if I add on one more, 1 times 2 equals 2 plus 1, that will give me 3. So let's try this and see if this works out. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 equals 5. Try it. 3 times 2 equals 6 plus 1 equals 7. So it seems to me that
Oh gosh, guys, I'm sorry. I must have hit the button. Hang on, I'll get us right back where we stopped.
challenging example, two-step function table. Get from 2 equals 5. Let's try it again. What would my output be for this example? We take 4 times 2, which is 8, plus 1 gives me 9. And now I've completed that function table. All right, it's time for you to try some on your own. I have 2 tables here that I've written for you, and what I would like you to do is write the rule, so what is happening to the inputs to get our outputs, what's happening to the numbers when they're thrown into that machine, and I'd also like you to complete the blanks in the table as well. So please copy these examples into box number 3 of your homework sheet, write the rule, and complete the
All right, guys, so you're going to write down number 1 and number 2. So I want you to copy the table down, and then in the chat, I want you to tell me what that missing number is for question number 1 and for question number 2. Some of you may already see those patterns because I see you responding in the chat pretty quickly. Good, Aiden. Good job, James, Ariella. Maybe you can't sing ABCs right now. Madison, check that answer again. Good, Elliot. Remember, it looks like our numbers are increasing. Good, Jasleen. Wait for a few more answers to come in there. Number 2 should be pretty easy here. Good, Jasleen. So, Ezel, good job. Audrina, good. Madison, good. That bottom one was kind of tricky. Someone share with me. I'm going to unmute you. Someone share with me. How did you solve number 2? What rule did you find? Jasleen, why did you choose the answer 6 for number 2?
Because it's increasing and increasing by 2.
Good. So the X side of my table is counting 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that Y side of my table is counting 0, 2, 4. So naturally the next number is 6. Good job, guys. This next problem might look very familiar to any of you that have already started working on your homework. So we're going to do this problem together. Feel free to write the answer down on your homework sheet so that when you turn it in, this one is already completed. All right, it says the rule for the pattern in the table below is C equals F plus 4, where C represents the output, the number of circles, and F represents the input, the figure number. Figures made using circles. We have figure number F, and it's going 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have the number of circles, which is represented by C, counting 5, 6, 7, 8. Which ordered pair will be on the graph that represents this table? I want everyone to go ahead and take 1 minute to independently solve this problem, and then we will come back together and do it together.
No, it's 14 people. 14 people. It's a full screen. What is this? I don't get it. This is which order pair will be on the graph that represents it. So the camera's not on, right? No.
All right, guys, it's been about a minute. Let's go ahead and start working on this problem together. All right, guys, so our rule here was F plus 4. So let's go ahead and plug in some numbers for F, and I'm going to switch colors here. Let's plug in our first value. What is our first value? Someone share out with me. What is our first number here for F? Just read the chart. 1. Good. So 1 plus 4. Does that give me the output of 5?
Yes.
Great. So it works there. Let's check the next one. If I plug in 2 for F, is 2 plus 4 6?
Yes.
Good. Is that Aiden that I hear?
Yeah.
Hi, Aiden. All right. And then if I plug in 3, 3 plus 4, will that give me 7?
Yes.
Cool. Let's check the last one. 4 plus 4, do I get 8?
Yes.
All right, so now we go to the bottom. All of these are correct. We verified that our rule does work. Now we need to choose an answer below. Which ordered pair will be on the graph that represents the table? If I
C.
put 8 plus 4, will that give me 6?
No.
No. If I plug in 10 plus 4, do I get 6?
Yes. No.
Nope. That's backwards. That would be 10 minus 4, right? Good. 6 plus 4, is that 10?
Yes.
All right, let's check our last one. 6 and 2, does it work with our rule?
Yes, but we already did that.
No, we did 2 and 6.
Oh yeah.
That's backwards.
Yep, it's backwards, so X and Y are reversed there. So good, our answer is C, 6 and 10.
Yep.
This one was number 3 on page, I believe, 131. So you are submitting this, so if you don't have that, go make sure you get it written down.
I haven't did page 31.
131, I think. And that's okay. It's due on Monday. I just wanted to make sure that we looked at some.
131?
Yep, we'll look at it at the end. Okay, the next problem we're going to do together. It's on Friday. It's due Monday. Hang on, guys. I'm not sure. My computer's not changing. Oh, there it goes. Now it wants to change. All right. The last problem we're going to work on today, it says, please don't draw on the screen while we're working. The rule to describe a pattern is F equals G plus 1. If G is the X coordinate, and I'm going to go ahead and rename that while we're reading it, okay? So it tells us that G is the X coordinate, and that F is the Y coordinate. I see 5 of you have already put answers in the chat. All right, which point on the coordinate plane does not follow the rule that represents the pattern? Let's look at our coordinate points and let's make an input-output table. I'm going to label it F and G. I'm sorry, G and F, just like X and Y. Okay. Uh-oh. Why is it not letting me draw? Okay. So let's go ahead and plug in our coordinate points. What coordinate point am I at when I'm at point R?
2 plus 3,
Yep, how do I read that?
2, 3.
Good. What about point S?
4, 5,
Okay. What about point T?
6, 8.
8,
Okay, and what about point U?
8, 9.
8, 9. Good. So looking at our spread of data, someone remind me what the rule is.
Plus 1.
It's what?
Plus 1.
Plus 1. Okay, so which is the only point here that does not follow that plus 1 rule?
It's 8. 6, 8.
H. Yes. What if I didn't know how to write out coordinate points? What could I have looked at to figure out that my answer was point T?
The line.
The line. What's wrong with the line?
It's not. Oh, it's not going in a diagonal straight line like this.
Good, good. So when we talk about functions, functions represent a line. Who's ever heard of the word slope?
Nope. I haven't heard of
Slope,
that.
yeah. So
Down.
when you get to middle school next year, you'll start talking about slope. Slope is the steepness of a line, right? Like if you're going skiing,
Yeah.
you can see that this T is not on the line, meaning it can't follow that rule. This makes sense so far?
Oh, so like if it's
Good.
on sharing the same rule, it'll go down the same line.
Absolutely. Now, this was number 4 from page 132. So once again, this is not due until Monday. I just wanted to make sure that you all had some exposure to it. So the last thing we're going to do is our announcements. Page 131, number 1 through 3. 133, number 6 and number 7 is due on Monday, May 11th. This is the first time you've submitted 2 separate pages at one time. So make sure you take a picture of both of those pages for us, okay?
It's 130, page 132 is Monday.
131, 133, 133, 6, and 7.
Oh, okay.
I don't need number 132.
Can you mute people? The background.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll start over. So 131, numbers 1 through 3. And then page 133, number 6 and number 7 is due on Monday, May 11th.
Okay.
Some of you have received progress reports. If you were missing any assignments from reading or math, then you got a progress report. If you were not missing anything, then you didn't get one because you didn't need one, okay? So if you got a progress report, that means that you were missing something. Please send in all of your homework assignments. Lastly, make sure you are logging 100 or more minutes every week on ExactPath. This is a separate grade, and I want to make sure that you guys aren't getting